For a lot of wow, did he just lay everything on the line that last couple of laps. Wonderful ride then from Nori Haga. He grabs victory, and that's how it should be. The man who wins a 20-lap race ought to be the man on aggregate as well. Why not? But 0.025 of a second behind in second place, Carlos Checa. Well, Checa and Biaggi have pulled some points back on Leon Haslam, so you can be pleased with that.
Yeah, Checa's not unhappy.
Haga, Checa, Biaggi, Haslam. On the aggregate, this is Jonathan Ray, Sylvain Guintoli, James Tosland, Shaky Byrne, Carl Crutchlow and Jakob Smertz. Ruben Saus 11th ahead of teammate Troy Corsa. 13th Lorenzo Lanti, 14th Lucas Scassa, and 15th on aggregate for Kawasaki, Tom Sykes. I've seen some great races by Nori Haga over the past decade, gentlemen, but that was simply one of the best.
That was as exciting as you're going to get a race at, with the added kind of bonus of the aggregate. Every race, that's what we need.
Well, yeah, we talked the aggregate thing down, how boring it would be, but I've got to say that added a different element, and it was interesting and great. It's very apt that it's Noriyuki Haga doing it for us.
I'm loving seeing him so excited. I think it's not often you see him that chuffed with himself. That's brilliant.
After an otherwise lackluster weekend, though, that makes it even more special.
Yeah. And in fact, in race one, he was very much struggling, wasn't he? And ended up in 5th place, but it was not exactly a challenging 5th place in the first race. So Nori Haga once again comes right back into the reckoning in the World Superbike Championship. Max Biaggi gave it everything and ends up in 3rd place. So he only gains 3 points on Leon Haslam after all that effort.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Going home every weekend, leading the championship, and if Leon can keep this up, then we're looking good.
Well, it looks like the old careless chucker has got so excited he's stalled his bike, throwing a burnout.
If my rudimentary maths are to be believed,
I always believe them, James.
Yeah, 123 now for Haslam, still in the championship. Biaggi still in second, 105, closed up somewhat. Checa still in 3rd, 80. Haga still in 4th, 79. So Haga really the big benefactor there. I'm sure he should be.
Yes, when you've raced like that. Max Biaggi, though, gets the Pirelli Award for the Pirelli Best Lap with a 134.632, just a whisker off Nori Haga's current world lap record, which was set last year. And I think it's going to be a while before we get Carlos Checa back to base.
He's mucking about with the fans quite rightly, and I think he stalled it, and then things will not start once he's stopped. Huge bucket-like pistons and a lot of compression.
Look at that face on the left. There's a young Deck Crutchlow there.
I don't know about that. What needs his hair washed, I think.
And they're obviously going to have the Altea boys come to help their man. The ultimate humbling of not quite getting the race win and then having to get pushed all the way back on your pram. Well, Nori Haga turns out to be the race winner, the man who turned 35 years old on the 2nd of March. Well, it doesn't seem 5 minutes since he was a kid who used to change the colour of his hair between races. 3 times second in the World Superbike Championship, 4 times third since the year 2000, and he's taken yet another race win here. This championship could prove to be a fairly entertaining one, fellas. I don't think we'll find someone bursting away at the front and disappearing.
3 rounds in, and there's been upsets all the way, and great. Leon Cami leading today, Noriyuki Haga winning a race. I
honestly think there's no shame in what Leon Cami managed to achieve today, I've got to say. You know, run at the front in this.
You did say that it was yet another of those curious rear end grip, just gone and disappearing.
It was a weird looking crash. You normally would have expected it to grip a long time before it didn't flick you on the high side. He thought it was low side, and let go, and then the bike flicked on its own. So a lot less painful that way, I've got to say.
Sylvain Guintoli, after that very similar accident at the end of warm-up this morning, said that their data readings showed no difference in speed, but he reckoned he might have just been tipped over a fraction too far because it just sat down flat on him. Tell you what, Carlos Checa is going to be, as you say, James, we didn't necessarily expect him to have the consistency to challenge for this championship, but he's going to be well in in there, isn't he?
Yeah, that's it. When a rider of his quality and experience clicks with a bike and a team like he has done, you can never discount him. He looks good and he looks settled as well.
Yeah. He's certainly setting a few targets for Shaky Byrne, who's got to kind of find his way up the rankings. Here are the standings. Look at that, James. Spot on. 123 Haslam, 105 Biaggi, 80 for Checker, 79 Haga, 60 for Jonathan Ray, 50 now for James Tolson and Sylvain Guintoli, 46 for Fabrizio, 46 for Troy Corser. Shaky Byrne 11th on 33, Leon Camilla 12th on 32, despite no scoring today. And then Lanzi Smertz and the rest, and Carl Crutchlow was in there as well, wasn't he, on about 10th place. So the Brits doing us proud, really, after a fairly astonishing race. And it's still beautiful and sunny here as we look at the bikes. There's one, some fairly hard-working rubber down there. The tyres didn't let them down, did they, in those closing stages? There was nothing that went visibly horribly wrong with them.
I don't think they let anybody down more than anybody else, if you know what I mean. I think they all had a few issues, certainly with rear grip and traction, but I think it was the same for everybody, you know. Certainly I think that Haga seemed to be the one coaxing it enough, you know. You could see his bike sliding, but either the electronics helped him or it was just a little bit more gentle on it. He wanted to get to the finish line first.
Tell you what, that was thrillingly tense, because not one of those guys could afford a mistake, much of a marginal error at all.
And I think they'd have been working out as well. You know, they have the lap signals that are almost useless once you get off once you pass the lap signal, it's changed again. You know, around the corner
straight away.
Yeah, it was quite consistent across the board there, because lap times dropped down half a second a lap for pretty much everyone after 8-10 laps, and then stayed the same right to the end. So there was no one that seemed to lose out greatly.
Well, not any more than anybody else, really. You can't, you know, that's as good as you can hope, really.
A slightly disappointed looking Max Biaggi then in third place. Second place for the home hero, Carlos Checa.
Listen for this. You can always hear the Decay lot. Always. There they are.
That's great to see the smile back on the little face.
I'll bet that's a relief for Xerox Ducati.
Yes, certainly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they've not had a good start to the season, had they? And if there's one man who could perhaps rescue it, it's this fella. So, 42nd career victory for Noriyuki Haga.
And possibly one of the hardest, I'd suggest.
Yeah, I think so. Started racing when he was 4, so he's only been at it for 31 years, Taylor. Just to give you a hint of how long you might progress yet. Carlos Checa, brilliant second place. All three of them, what a race they put on there. And Nori Haga takes the big trophy.
Everybody gets a tin chicken.
Nitro Nori, nice to see those t-shirts are still around. You know, they ought to be preserved for history. Those are Nori, the dog's borax. Definitely t-shirts that ought to be around forever. So we'll have a Japanese national anthem followed by the Italian.
Escuchamos a honor de la marca ganadora, el himno de Italia.
Goes after his no excuse for not chasing his team man there. A man who has a once surprising allegiance to Leon Haslam, and they both won scooter championships at the age of 14. Norihaga won 4 Japanese scooter championships at the age of 13 and 14. And he's won here at Valencia in the second race of round 3 of World Supers. Tell you what, guys, I'm looking forward to what these fellas have to say about that race.
Yep.
What they were expecting and what they were wrestling with, well, it seemed fairly evident to us really at the time, but wow.